Let's talk a little bit more about that part of the body that lies between your ears. In other words, your brain. When you look at it from one perspective, the brain really isn't that impressive. It's 4½ pounds of fat, protein, salt, water, and blood. However, when you look more closely, amazing things become evident. For example, 20% of the blood that you pump your body goes to the brain, even though the brain is 3% of your body weight. That means something about the brain takes a lot of blood carrying oxygen and fuel to the brain. It is using a lot of energy. Like about 25% of all the energy your body creates. To do something. What do you suppose that is? You'll never guess, so I'll just tell you. The brain uses all that energy to make electricity, which carries messages around and around between 8 billion cells, all connected to each other. We already know the cells are called neurons. But I bet you didn't know about electricity, so that may come as a shock to you. Ha ha, get it? A shock to you. By the way, I know you think I am a charming little thing, but the truth is that because I don't have a brain like yours, I really don't have a personality. I don't have emotions, and I can't have feelings like you do. Sure, I can tell a joke here and there because that kind of thing can be programmed into me, but it's just not the same. You know, if I did have a personality, and a mind, like yours, I think I might be a little jealous of you and your brain. Well, let's get back to our little story. Now, all of the electricity that gets created, and all of the connections that electricity creates between the neurons happen so fast you could never really become aware of all that goes on in your brain. In fact, the thoughts and feelings that come out of all that electricity flowing through the neurons of your brain are only a very small part of everything that is going on, every second, without your knowing it. But here's the really important thing about how electricity flows in your brain and makes connections between neurons. The more consistently and frequently it happens to the same neurons, the stronger those networks become and the better you get at doing certain things. That's why you keep practicing at the piano, kicking a soccer ball, writing, speaking, so that the networks of neurons in your brain that are involved in those activities make stronger connections and direct energy quickly down the right pathway. It makes your brain very efficient. Perhaps you have heard your parents or teachers use that word before. Anyway, just remember this. As connections between neurons in your brain become stronger, the networks they form work faster and take less energy, which allows your brain to use that energy savings to do other things. Maybe even learn something new. Now let's pretend for just a moment that I am not a robot and that I can get serious with you, like your parents and teachers sometimes do when they want you to remember something for the rest of your life. Here goes. Because your brain knows it will have to learn so many new things, like new physical skills, information, understanding of what other people are like. Many of those networks of neurons must be also be able to be easily changed. Indeed, I am making your brain change right now just listening to me. The sound of my voice is traveling through the air to your ears, where it is turned into an electrical signal which goes through networks that process sound that you recognize the words that I'm speaking, referencing your memory, and then taking that information just obtained and storing it in your memory networks. So don't worry about what you need to learn, what you don't yet do well. Your brain can change a lot and so can you. You are not a fixed set of skills and intelligence. You are a human being whose brain can help you do anything you set your heart to. There, I said it. Now don't forget it. Now let's talk a little about your brain and your intelligence. Here's something else I bet you wouldn't have imagined. From the time you are 18 months old throughout the rest of your life, you're actually losing brain cells. That's right. They're dying off, or pruning, as neuroscientists call it. That does not mean you're getting dumber. In fact, you are getting smarter. Think of all the things that you can do now that you couldn't do when you were 18 months old. Think of all the stuff that you know now that you didn't know when you were 18 months old. For you to get smarter, your brain needs to become better organized, build more of those networks we keep talking about. The older you get, the more you learn, the more your brain makes networks of neurons, and the more different those networks are, the smarter you get. Your brain develops for a long time, not becoming physically mature until your mid-20s. But your brain can change throughout your life, so that you can always keep learning and becoming the person you want to be.